What is up, everybody? Skratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we got YST on the channel. What's up, buddy? How you doing? Nice to have you around. This is the second time while I have you on the channel here. What's up, buddy?
All good. It might be the third time because of the faction games, Team Screnubus and all of that.
You're
good
right.
stuff.
It might be even the fourth time actually.
Yeah.
if we're thinking about that, I forgot about it. You see, how is life treating you? Being full time. I know you recently decided to take on the journey. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't complain. I'm enjoying it a lot, getting to pump out more videos and be more engaged with the community. So yeah, really fun. I like it.
Absolutely awesome stuff. Guys, make sure you head over and check out his channel. The link will be in the description down below or in the pinned comments. And hit that subscribe. Let's support the man out. Today, we're gonna talk about the top 10 best clan boss teams in the entire game, guys. So I got YST here to assist me on this one because it's quite an important topic. There are so many clan boss teams out there, so many different variations, and the main idea is which one of them deals the best damage, which one of them is more accessible, which one of them is affinity friendly, which one of them works on every single difficulty, which one of them is full oro, which one of them requires a short rotation before full oro. There's so many things when we're talking about clan boss, so that's kind of like what we're gonna cover in today's video. Now I have my little file right here, all the speeds and stuff. So, how you guys can see, we have the Infinity Shield, we have the Whale Buster, the Endless Buffs team, the Meat Food, the Bear Eater, the Helicat, or the one-man army because he doesn't need anyone else with him. MidAir, War Crusher, the Slow Double Man-Eater, Batman Forever, and there's so many other teams that they just have small variations from these teams. These are kind of like the base teams, and then there are a lot of variations, right? So, we're gonna have a look a bit at what speeds we need, what champions we could replace in there, what damage they're bringing in, and how are the teams actually working out all around in general, you know? We're gonna start with the very first team that we have right here, and this is the Infinity Comp. Now, I haven't personally built a team like this. I haven't tested it. The speeds right here, they might be a bit off because it doesn't seem to sync in a 2-to-1 ratio. I would assume that's a 2-to-1 ratio team considering the high speeds that we have, the increased speed, all the extenders in there. But then at the same time, I cannot really prioritize the skills properly because I gotta use the Lennox skill 1 and then block it completely. I cannot do it in the calculator, so that might be something that actually affects it, you know, and it doesn't actually show it right. But YST, what do you think about the Infinity Comp team? You've built one of these, you've tested it out. It's pretty crazy, right?
It's crazy. Like when you talk about like taking clan boss to the next level, you can't not mention the Infinity Shield team. Big shout out to Mullet Reaver and Victor Tez that kind of pushed the limit with this team. But as you guys know, that is the world record clan boss composition using a team like this, where you hit like billions nowadays. So like, look at that, 1.7 billion. It's insane. Look at that.
Yeah, so this is actually the new world record that Victor Tez has, guys. This is his screenshot right here with the damage that he dealt. And yeah, pretty damn crazy. Look at that. Krisk, Hellborn, Underpriest Brognin, Lennox, and Corpulent Cadaver, a rare champion, dealing 1.5 billion damage. Let me move my head out of the way. Absolutely insane. This is completely an overkill. You do not need to do this on clan boss because, my god, you're taking all the chests from everybody, okay? You're slaying the clan boss alone, but it's very nice to see that you can actually achieve such impressive results in the game using 2 rare champions, right? It's so freaking crazy. And there are not many replacements in here. Like, you've built this team, right? You've tried it out?
Yeah, I've tried it once, not too many times.
So it's pretty solid. Hellborn could be replaced by another ally attack champion. Same with Lennox, or a extender, sorry, not a increased attack champion, but that will reduce the damage quite a bit. So all around, it's a very, very impressive team to look at it, man.
Just, you know, if you build a team like this, you can literally open up your own clan and just kill everything by yourself.
Exactly. With the 4 keys you're getting for free, you're gonna destroy everything. This will work on every affinity, every difficulty. Like, yeah, you know how it goes. Now, when we are
basically, guys, if you're not aware of this team as well, the way that it kind of works is obviously it's an endless shield team where the value of Underpriest Brogni is extending the value of the shields, and the way that Corpulent Cadaver works is he hits harder based on the shields that's on your champions. And because you're consistently extending it with an Underpriest Brogany and extending it with Krisk as well, it pretty much is up the whole entire fight until people start to drop off. Or as you see here, you reach the turn limit. And that's why you're extending the value on Corpulent. So then the bigger the shield, the bigger he's hitting. And that's why you're seeing 1.5 billion. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely very, very sick. Underpriest Brogny cannot be replaced out of here. Very hard to replace Krisk as well because of all the debuffs he brings. In terms of speeds, the highest speed that we have for this team is 286. Then we have 269, 245 on Hellborn, 195 on Corpulent Cadaver, and we have 188 on Underpriest Brogny. Very, very nice team, and how I mentioned, this is the number one team in the game in terms of damage and utility all around, but it's pretty hard to build. Moving over to the next team, and this is the Endless Buff comp. Now, this has been out since Lydia. It's pretty intense in terms of gear, in terms of speeds. In terms of damage, it's very rewarding though, and it's a very powerful team. It's not going to be full auto straight off the back, but it's going to be very, very impressive. Now, I've done a video recently on it with Mishinaki, 210 million damage. Mishinaki bringing almost 100 million damage. You managed to get this Mishinaki during the 10x YST?
Yeah, Mishinaki is definitely up there, one of the best clan boss champions in this game at the moment for me. He smacks crazy numbers. He's in my main team now as well, so I've been enjoying him a lot.
Yeah, he's actually very powerful. So this team, guys, can do over 200 plus million damage. This is kind of like what I stopped. It will work on all the difficulties, all the affinities as well, because we have the cleansers in play and everything can go on. But this is another awesome team. In terms of speeds, how I mentioned, is a bit more intensive. We have Lydia at 268. We have Krisk at 254. Badal Khazar or another cleanser. You can use Wither the Crowned or whatever other champion you have available. Even Doom Priest if you want. 218 speed. Elton at 227. Elton can be replaced as well with an Iron Brago. Could be replaced potentially with even a Martyr if you have. You just want to have the defense up from somebody. So kind of like Elton is doing that job. And attack down to be more reliable than Krisk's. And of course we have Valkyrie with a massive shield keeping us alive at 255 speed. This as well is a pretty nasty team. Have you ever used this YST?
Yeah. I used the variation with like the Lydia the Death Siren, Taragi the Frog, Underpriest, and that kind of steam of an Iron Brago. So it's kind of like a spin on this one. But very similar. Like there's loads of ways to like actually alter this team. Of course, Krisk is really powerful here. But he's not the only champion that can make one of these great teams work. You might not see the same results, but in terms of making it work with, like I said, with the Underpriest and stuff, definitely worthy to like switch around some champions and deal some crazy damage. So,
yeah, absolutely. A lot of variations for this team as well. Like you're bringing in an increased speed in somebody else instead of Krisk, and you're going to manage to crack on it. Lydia, she is pretty important in there too. Sorry, you bring in a buff extender instead of Krisk, because Lydia gives you the increased speed. You can use
someone like a Godseeker Aneri is a great example, yeah.
Exactly, or a Senless Survivor, and then you're using Lydia with that, plus you have a cleanser, and then up to you whatever other champions you have available. Toragi the Frog, like YST actually did something similar, I think, for the clan boss draft, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, it's very similar to that team.
Moving over to the next team, guys, and this is an Unkillable team, and it's called the Whale Buster. This is very intensive in terms of gear, it's very end game, it's kind of like an expert sort of team, and we have champions going on a 3-to-1 ratio, on a freaking 2-to-1 ratio, so much stuff happening with this team, and I think the maximum damage that this team has at the moment, if I'm correct, Pavo told me around 330 million damage. Now, I've built this team as well a few months ago, and this is what I've got with it, 207 million. I haven't went all in on my builds, like to give the craziest gear and stuff, to push it to the limits. But now we have more empowerment, we have the Awakening, which gives us a lot of damage. And this is actually a very, very impressive team, but it's very hard to get the speeds, the champions, the stats to make it work. But it's definitely spot on number 3 as the best clan boss team in the game. You know, what do you think about this team? Have you ever tried anything similar?
That team is very strong. I've actually never played with Cardiel on the clan boss. It's one thing that I'd love to do. But seeing a team like this, like usually traditionally we have like the ARS teams, like which we'll speak about soon. But Yeah, Ninja was attainable for everybody. Obviously, it's impossible to get him now, so that's one kind of downside. But apart from that, like, damn, if you're saying almost 300 million as a world record with this team, that's it. That's like insane numbers to do in 50 turns, and I'd love to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very, very crazy, actually. But
Yeah.
the speeds as well are crazy. So we have the Mita at 325, we have Cardial at 295, and his speed aura, right? The ally attack gives more damage, guys. That's the whole idea. You can make it without a Cardial. You can make this team without a Cardial, without a problem. But the whole idea is to have the speed lead, to have the buffs from him, to have the ally attack. Then we have Lydia at 294, Seeker at 225, and Ninja at 243 speed. And this is a beast of a clan boss team sitting here at the number 3. On number 4, if you want to talk about this team a bit, is I think you're using this team, right? So you're using the mid-fu team at the moment, YST.
I'm using the variation of it, so the 2 DPS without a speed aura. So I've gone for like a Mishinaki and a Brachus the Shifter in replacement of the Jintoro and Fushan. And obviously you have to up the speed a little bit. I think it's around 316 speed on Demifa and stuff like that. But a team like this is like, you press auto and you just let it go, right? And it just works for like all affinities. Eris cleanses it off, and Demifa going at 3-to-1 ratio, making sure that the block damage is up for every single skill that the clan boss hits you. And it's just one of the best teams out there, right? And you can't really fault it. Demifa is like game changing. If you guys pull this champion, she's just literally a game changer. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of this composition.
Absolutely. I feel the same. Like, starting just with the idea of having different champions, right? So we have a rare champion, we have 2 epics, and then 2 champions of your choice, okay?
Yeah.
You don't need Fushan, you don't need Jintoro, okay? Up to you, whatever champions you're bringing. And yes, you might have to adjust a bit the speeds. Like in this one right here, I've done this as well, but with an Urtikara instead of Fushan. I still use Dracomorph, but of course you can use a Feint if you like, you know? And you're still gonna bring in pretty solid numbers. Because
this is 100%. This is like the most flexible for me anyway. To exceed a 1-key, affinity friendly, full auto, I don't think you could beat a team like this because it's so flexible. Like Ares, you can farm from the campaign. Demifa was a past epic fusion, I believe, to fuse one of the legendaries. Correct me if I'm wrong.
yeah,
Seeker, an epic champion, and then any 2 DPS on your account, and you'll be able to like push the limits. The only downside is, of course, you're gonna need some extreme fast speeds to get those 3-to-1 ratios on Demifa. But apart from that, if you build this champion and you build this team, you never have to make another clan boss team ever again. Like, you're good to go. So that's kind of the upside, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a bit high on the speed, but if you have the champions, and if you're using a speed lead, it's gonna be more accessible for the majority. How you mentioned, you cannot beat affinity friendly, all difficulties, full oro, 1 key. As simple as that. That's why this team is on number 4. Moving over to number 5. Right here we have the Barrier. This again is been in the game for quite a while. It's such a popular team, and very similar with the Midfu. Works on every difficulty, every affinity, full auto, 1 key, okay? It's a bit harder to get a 1 key because you don't have 2 DPS. So you need to have slightly better gear in terms of damage, but lower speeds. Now, if you're comparing this at full potential with a Midfu, Midfu will beat this in damage. That's why the Midfu is ranked higher. Plus, here you need to have 2 copies of the same champion, and you don't really have so much flexibility. That's why we thought this team deserves a lower rank than a Midfu, you know? So the speeds are not too crazy on this. You have the DPS at 220 being the slowest, and you can use him on Relentless. Then the highest speed is 268, 255 on Seeker, 247 on the other Man-Eater, and you can have 239 upwards on Painkeeper, especially if you want to use counter-attack masteries on her, you can do that. And this starts already with Relentless champions. Dracomorph can be on Relentless, and I've done so many different teams with this, so many different champions used into it. I've done over 100 million without a problem in the Barrier comp. This is a screenshot that I found because I've done so many different videos. I can't find every single one of them.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you used this at some point, right? If you had a Man-Eaters.
Do you know what? For me, on my account, it took me 2 years to get a Man-Eater, so I used traditional teams only until, like, literally last week was the first time I built an Unkillable team on my account. So for me, I didn't actually play with Unkillable teams for so long for the reason that you said. sometimes it's so hard in this game to get two of the same champion, especially with it being a void. Like, Man Eater's so elusive. Like, the time that you want him, he won't pop out for you. But when you summon like two, then that's all that Palarian wants to give to you. It's just Man Eaters all the time.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly how it goes usually. But yeah, this is actually a very, very solid team. And Ninja can be replaced by Fane, Rugnor, Anax, so many other champions, Balanor. Like, you have plenty of options for DPS, but you cannot really change the other 4 champions and keep the same speeds and same quality for the team. You can drop Seeker for a Deacon Armstrong with higher speeds, but you're losing increased attack. That costs you a lot of damage, so it's just not really worth it in my opinion, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
Moving over to the next team, we're gonna have another Unkillable, but this time around is the one-man army with Helicon. Like, this was such a strong fusion. Even now, I remember people saying that he's such a bad champion, and now they're regretting it for not
really
using. Yeah,
Damn.
man. Like, it's crazy. Helicon was such an amazing champion for a fusion, you know, and he can carry your entire team in clan boss because he's gonna give you block damage for 2 turns, and he can be your stun target as well. He survived all the way up to turn 50. And how you see right here, I have 4 DPS in my team, okay? This is the team that I'm using on daily basis for the simple fact that it's the fastest 1-key team that I found in the entire game. I managed to 1-key Ultra Nightmare in around 7 minutes and 30 seconds without having the champions fully empowered or awakened or anything mad like that. And I don't have the best gear on them. Like, this is a random damage, Nightmare. So
that is insane for a one-man army team. Over 100 million just shows the value of. Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I do around the same damage on Ultra Nightmare as well, 110, 120 million depending on the RNG. But the whole idea is I get to 1-key so fast, man, that I'm just gonna back out. And the good part about it is you have Helicat, you have a cleanser, you can have Cardiel, you can have Doom Priest as a cleanser, you know, and then bring in 3 more DPS of your choice. Okay, whoever you want, and you're gonna be smacking tons of damage with it. I 1-key Nightmare in under 4 minutes, you know. That's how good.
Seriously, guys, this team right here, like, this is the exact team that I always recommend to players when they're trying to get to Ultra Nightmare for the first time. It's kind of like a play on the 4-3 back in the day with like the Sepulchre Sentinels, the ally protections and stuff, and you kind of get like a 2-key with a team like that. But using very similar speed, so 1 4-3 champion in Helicon, and he's just going to be tanking that stun turn because he's going to be a tanky champion, right? And he'll easily survive that 50 turns if he's built correct. And it's so flexible, like Skratch was saying. You could bring in any cleanser like a Doom Priest. You could bring in any DPS champions that you've got on your account. And even with just mid-game gear, you should be exceeding a very, very easy 2-key Ultra Nightmare with this team. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of this one, the one-man army.
Absolutely, and it works on all difficulties, all affinities as well, you know, so definitely spot on as a team. I love it because it's just so fast to 1-key.
Do you know what's great about Helicon as well, guys, that I wanted to mention? Like, we do have other block damage champions such as Rushguard the Towers, we've got Warcasters, the Mythers, but the thing that makes Helicon so great is he can actually amplify the damage of defensive-based nukers. So let's talk about Missionarchy, Raz and Scarhide, or DPSs like that. Because when the block damage falls off, he puts the increased defense up, which is very unique for a block damage champion. So that's kind of one reason why I really like Helicon. Because people like like Missionarchy, like the new Shadowkin, you're able to exceed his damage capabilities by having somebody like a Helicon in your team. So yeah, that's just one other thing I want to throw in there.
Absolutely, and just the counter attack constantly from his passive, you know, the defense aura that he has as well, all around is just such an amazing combo. Just being able to carry an entire team in clan boss. How I mentioned, all affinities, all difficulties, just slightly different rotation, but full aura because we have team presets, you know.
Yeah.
Moving over to the next team, this is something that I've never used, and I'm counting here on my buddy Deadwood Jedi. Of course, big shout out to Deadwood Jedi for bringing this website to life and having this calculator, because it's so much easier to simulate everything that happens in Clan Boss. But right here, we have the MidAir team, right? And this has Deacon and Seeker. So the speeds are slightly lower in here compared to the Mid-Fu. You're not really getting as much damage because you don't have to DPS. But if you are a bit short on the speed gear, if you think it's easier to build this team for you, definitely have a look into it. And there are different variations without Seeker, with other champions that give increased speed. There's so many different variations for these teams. I kind of try to just cover the basis of the teams, and how you guys can see, Deadwood Jedi right here, 71.37 million damage. Now, the speeds that he has in the video are a bit different from what we can see right here on the website, but it's still a pretty impressive team. Have you ever used anything similar like this, YST?
I haven't used it, but I'm very familiar with it. Like, the Deacon MidAir composition is so good. The reason being is because somebody like a Deacon Armstrong does the extra turn, he does the turn meter fill, and he applies one of the most crucial debuffs in drop defense, means that you don't need somebody like a Draco Morph. As long as your DPS slot, where you see the Draco, has a weaken in their kit, you'll kind of see the same value, but you will obviously drop from the poison debuffs and the amount of damage that a Draco does provide. But let's just say, off the top of my head, somebody like a Brackus the Shifter, right? 6-time hitter, a weaken. Like, these are champions that you can really bring into the mix and be able to hold that value in a team like this. So being able to drop down those speeds, because in the traditional team without a speed aura, trying to get like 315 on Demifra is just insane, right? So if you can't get there and you don't want to strip your arbiters of all of your best speed gear, definitely go for a team like this. It's really strong.
Absolutely. It's actually a pretty interesting team, and you have the extra thermometer from Deacon to help you. So
Yeah.
it is going, some of the champions are going on a 3-1, some of them on a 2-1, but all around it's pretty nice, and it will work on all affinities, all difficulties as well. But how I mentioned, the damage is a bit lower than the mid-fu. You're still gonna manage to one key it without too much of a hassle. Moving over to the next team that we have in here, guys, and this is going to be the double slow Man-Eater. This works on Ultra Nightmare, works on Nightmare, is not full auto, but it will work on every single affinity. Most probably, you could play around with the speeds and make it work on Brutal too. Right here, I have it with 3 ally attack champions just for the fun. I actually managed to one key with them like this, just 3 ally attack champions. But I've done a similar thing right here, 87 million damage. Now, probably for the majority of people that might be looking to create this team, you won't be able to get it necessarily to a 1 key, but a 2 key Ultra Nightmare, 1 key Nightmare is very doable with this. It's a very safe team as well, and is actually a pretty good team. There are many variations here as well. Like, think about Man-Eater Warcaster, Man-Eater Demita, Man-Eater Helicon. All these things, they kind of like go from these variations. Some of them will be on different speeds, but just having 2 different champions that give unkillable block damage. So many variations out there, so many videos as well. I'm pretty sure YST has loads of them on his channel. Check that out. I have some on my channel, so you're definitely gonna find what you need. Just kind of like look in the playlists, try to find the right thumbnails or titles for the champions they have available. Have you ever used this, YST?
Yeah, this team here, I'm a big fan of it. It's very flexible, right? As you were saying, like having the 3 DPS slots is huge. And somebody like a Vizio Velis, like I see in the screenshot, is actually... His value surge is really great for these unkillable teams when you're trying to extend the value of those debuffs, keeping them up for those 50 turns, right? And also the Giant Slayer procs on the A1 with the triple hit. It actually turns out to be Vizier turning into a DPS champion just from setting those presets to just do the A1 with those Giant Slayer procs. So very versatile. I'm a big fan, and not very hard to build at all.
Yeah, this is actually great with instead of Krell, I have a Brackus, instead of Draco Morph, I have a Fane. It is actually going to work off really nice. You're going to get very good results.
Or even somebody like a Farrakhan the Fat, getting your increased crit rate, your crit damage, your poisons, your burns. Very universal with who you can bring in.
Absolutely, because you're getting pretty much all the debuffs like that. Very nice team all around. Moving over to the next team that we have on the list, guys, because how we mentioned, we're going all the way up to top 10. This right here is the War Crusher. I think Deadwood Jedi has it on the website as the Black Knight or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Is this the team that Skull Crusher tanks to hit with the Unkillable?
Exactly. So
okay, there we go.
This will work in the exact same way like the Barrier. It's going to work on Ultra Nightmare. Nightmare is going to work on Brutal. The affinity is a problem for the stun target. The affinity is a problem for Spirit. You can make it work on Spirit if you're replacing the DPS with Doom Priest. So if you're short on damage and your affinity just change on Clan Boss and you need to pinch 20 more million, just change the DPS with the Doom Priest, and it's gonna work on Spirit as well. And you can run it on Relentless, so Fane right here was on Relentless. Skull Crusher can be replaced by a different champion to tank the stun. You can replace it with Gjalhorn. That's gonna be on a different affinity. That's the rare champion. I think is from the Skinwalkers, if I'm not mistaken, provokes and places Unkillable on himself. And he could tank on a different affinity, like Magic Affinity, and Force Affinity can be tanked by a different champion if you can find a different one to do the job, you know. But all around, it can definitely smack pretty good damage. I think the very first time when I built the team, without going too hardcore into it, was 73 million damage. And the good part about it is that you need one champion with Unkillable, which is Warcaster, and then you have Renegade used in the team to decrease the cooldown. So it's very different from the other teams with Painkeeper or the Midfoot teams, you know. I feel like it's a pretty interesting team as well, this one, yeah.
Yeah, that's very... I've actually never tried that one before, but it's to see like a rare Renegade, one epic champion and Warcaster, and yeah, I think it's a pretty cool team. And if you guys know that you're going to be hitting Clan Boss on reset, and you just want to pinch, like you said, with the extra 20 million or so when you get into the Spirit or something, just switch over to the Doom Priest, maybe put her in a Toxic set, get your extra 20 million, and get back on your bike. Get your Ultra Nightmare Wonky. Let's go.
Absolutely. Crack on it, you know?
Yeah.
Moving over to the last team that we have right here, guys, and that is the Batman Forever. So this one was the very first 2-1 Unkillable team. It was created by Napoleon. After this team came out, all the rest popped like mushrooms, okay? So we had the Bat Eater and so many other variations after, but this was the very first Unkillable 2-1. Batman Forever, and you have Warcaster, Sir Nicholas. You can use Rochecart, Warcaster, double Warcaster, if I'm not mistaken. That I might be wrong on that, so you might need one champion that has it for 2 turns, like Sir Nicholas. Yeah, you do need to have that. So only one Warcaster, double Warcaster won't work in here. You have Seeker, and then you have 2 DPS champions of your choice, of course, and they can be in Relentless, both of them. Now, the speeds that I have right here are for the variation with Ninja that I've done for my Clan Boss draft that we actually had the competition, and I've done 145 million damage with this team. Dracomorph on Relentless, Ninja on Relentless, Warcaster, Seeker, and Sir Nicholas. Very, very nice. Works on pretty much every single difficulty. Affinity is a problem because right here, we're getting the stun on one of the DPS champions. We don't have a cleanser, so this will not work on Spirit in this format, but you can play around and make it work on Spirit if needed.
Yeah, some crazy damage. I'm getting flashbacks of the Clan Boss draft now.
I
really thought you was going to win that one, and then Hades and stuff just blew out of the park, man.
I know.
But yeah, this team is... If you guys do go and check out Skratch's video, I'm sure you'll leave it in the description below. This is a really fun team to watch, and to watch Ninja dealing the damage that he was insane. And that's not even like a +4 Ninja, that's just a baseline. So lots of room for improvement there, right?
Yeah, that was actually pretty fun to see this. But yeah, I'm gonna link all the videos and all the speeds for the calculator in the pinned comment, guys, together with YST channel. Make sure you head over and subscribe right now. YST, was a pleasure to have you on the channel. Guys, if we missed any super OP teams that are not variations of these teams, so make sure you're doing your research before you're letting us know. But drop it in the comments down below. Maybe we missed some strong team that we never tried and is out there and is not a variation from these teams. But that was all for this video. Much love, appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all soon in the next one. Peace.